IQ, or intelligence quotient, is a standardised way of gauging how how intelligent you are. The definition of intelligence is simply the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. The average score in an IQ test is 100, so if you score above that, then you're said to have above average intelligence, and if you score below it, then you obviously have below average intelligence. So quite easy to follow so far, even if you don't have the highest of IQs. An IQ test is usually made up of a series of puzzles, where the test taker will have to recognise or work out logical patterns of varying degrees of difficulty. The accuracy and efficiency with which these tasks are carried out will give you your overall score. When you watch programmes on TV like University Challenge or the 100% Club, for those of you watching abroad or people who've never seen these shows, they're basically quiz shows that show off how boring, how intelligent people are. I really should stop getting those two words mixed up. People with high IQs will often excel in situations like this because the name of the game is to acquire and apply knowledge to answer a series of different questions. Questions which may be lost on the rest of the population. So, I hear you ask, how can we apply this to photography? Well, I think that people approach photography from two different, let's call them intelligence standpoints. Some people will gravitate to their camera's manual, learning exactly how apertures work and finding interest in little details like reciprocity failure or hyperfocal distance, even if they never plan to make long exposures on a film camera or manually focus on their subject. Others will just see beauty in the world and use their cameras simply as a tool to capture it. Instead of the emphasis being on the hardware and how it works, it's well and truly planted in the subject matter itself. Those in the first category will often find things like composition quite difficult, whereas those in the second category will often shy away from learning about the technicalities of how the camera works because they just find it a little bit scary and off-putting. People from both categories can become competent photographers, but can they ever become masters of their own craft? One of the reasons I find photography so fascinating is that we need to apply two completely opposite ways of thinking to get the best results. We do need to be able to recognise patterns and have a basic grasp of mathematics and science in order to understand how light works. Also, to understand that when we change our camera's settings, the results that we're going to get are going to differ based upon our inputs. But at the same time, we need to be creative. We need to be able to see aesthetic patterns. And when we see them, we need to be able to translate them into aesthetically pleasing compositions that not only grab our viewers' attention, but maintain it and stand out from the crowd. You may have already guessed that I fit into the second category. Yes, I'm one of those arty-farty types. For me, photography is an art of expression, not necessarily of f-stops and megapixels. Yes, we need those things to make a photograph in the first place, but for me, anyway, they're more background elements that go together to make that finished item, the perfect photograph. When I watch a half-an-hour episode of University Challenge, I'm lucky if I get 5 or 6 questions right, and with the 100% Club, it's very rare that I even get the example question right. But in order for me to become a more proficient photographer and photography tutor, I made myself learn about the technicalities of photography, even though I found some of it very boring and utterly pointless in some cases. But knowing it allows me to draw on that knowledge when I need it. Someone once said to me, you can't teach people to be creative. So where does that leave you if you've reluctantly put down your camera's manual to tune into this YouTube video? Well, I think they were wrong. If I can learn to be vaguely technical or scientific, then you can learn how to be creative. The truth is, us creatives probably just haven't come up with an effective way of teaching our way of interpreting the world, because, let's face it, we're far too busy making things look pretty to knuckle down and get a proper job done. Unfortunately, or maybe even fortunately for people like me, creativity doesn't follow logical patterns. Instead of acquiring and applying knowledge, we're creating new data rather than analysing what's already out there. Based on all that, I'm pretty sure that there won't ever be an IQ test for creativity, as once again we're far too busy working out whether a pattern looks pretty to work out whether it's logical or not. But the world needs logical people, and it needs creative people in order to function. And to narrow it down to our photography level, we need the qualities of both of these ways of seeing. I'm sure if I was so inclined to waste 25 minutes of my life to do an IQ test, I wouldn't score that highly. But if there was an IQ test for photography, not wanting to blow my own trumpet, I think I probably would do quite well. Because photography is so wide-ranging, from engaging with our subject matter to making the photograph to post-producing it, there's bound to be bits that you don't necessarily engage with as much as others. However, to be the best photographer we can be, I strongly believe that we need to have a basic grasp of all of these processes. If we didn't, it would be like driving a car without knowing how to reverse. Like with anything in life, there's no quick fix to this learning malarkey. You can go on a diet for 2 or 3 days and then be back on the biscuits. It's just not going to work. No, in order to change your weight, you need to apply things over a longer period of time, not just days, weeks and months, but over a whole lifetime. Sorry, let's bring this back to photography and IQs. I think that definition of intelligence is really important. Remember, it's not how much you know, it's how you acquire and apply knowledge and put it all into action. If you're not willing to fill in the gaps of your technical knowledge or learn how to see things creatively, then you're probably not going to do that well on our hypothetical photography IQ test. But if you are willing to knuckle down and learn about all aspects of the medium, and not shy away from the things that either bore you or scare you because that's not how your brain works, then you're bound to gain a few extra brownie points. Like the analogy I used earlier with weight loss, if you feel that there are gaps in your photography knowledge, you need to fill them, not just by reading a few magazine articles or tuning into a few videos on YouTube, but by implementing them into your ongoing photography practice. Not all of us have the ability to soak up facts like a sponge. Neither do we all have the ability to translate what we see into perfect compositions. But we all have the ability to learn. Before I wrap up, I think there's one more elephant in the room that we need to address. Elephant? What elephant? Where's my camera? I think many people see those with high IQs as being boring know-it-alls. I'm sure people with high IQs look at plebs like me and think, what a lazy procrastinator waiting for the next light bulb moment to come along. But the truth is, our brains are just wired differently. And as I've already said, that's what makes the world go round. Having a high photography IQ, or a high IQ in general, shouldn't be about saying, look at me, I'm far more intelligent than you. It should be about taking advantage of the skills we have and making us better at what we want to achieve. Whew, that was a deep one. If you're looking for something a little bit more light-hearted, then why not have a rest and watch this video next? And don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing photography-related content. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, but until then, it's bye for now.